The next step is you're going to put in some keynotes. I sent you the email, copy and paste it in here and resize it. We'll talk about the dimension format here, and I'll show you make a hex note. You could have a series of them here. This plan doesn't show them all because there should be a keynote 12 pointing to solar collectors. But let me just show you what's going on with the keynote. So if I jump over to my blank or the, my site plan in model space, we'll just park it off to the side. So in my word processor, I've highlighted all this. I'll press copy. This is the stuff I sent you in an email. So in AutoCAD, as I come over, I use the text box, multi-line text, and I'll just park it out here. Right click, go to paste, and it gives you a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, geez, I noticed I'm on the wrong layer. Let's see if I can switch over to the layer 0. Okay, it did that. And let's, here's what I do. Highlight everything here. And we want the text to be 12 inches tall. Okay, and then click. That's looking pretty good. But what you're going to need to do is take out this text here, delete this gray text, and you can do that on your own. The lot coverage is 1388. And this is going to be at 17%. You need to fix that. Come up with these names here. But on site plan and work plan, this text here, let me just copy that or cut it. I meant to put it down here. But anyway, I'm not going to get all in all the text stuff because it's something that you'll need to do. Right click. Come on. Go past paste. And again, I will probably want to make sure that's on the 0 layer. I meant to move over to the 0 layer. This thing should be 12 inch tall text. Okay, click off the side. Now, however, no, this text here wants to be 24 inch tall text. Okay. And there's a few other text in the plan that will have to be 24. This is 24 inch tall text. And if I had the word legend, that's going to be in 24 inch tall text. I think there's a word wrap thing that is occurring over here. I don't know what's going on with setbacks and easements. Oh, I know what it was. You have some lines to draw in there. So remember, this thing's under construction. What you folks are going to need to do is you need to make it look like this. And there's, again, some information in the packet. We want these contours too, by the way, to go from like 98 feet or 96 feet to 98. Yeah, 100, 102, 104. Just put some text in there. Again, you need to put all these other bearings in there, setbacks, etc. And I think what I'm going to do next is it's up to you to get this thing all looking good. But what I'm going to show you next is how to put this hexagon in with a keynote and also dimensioning format. And then, I'll let you on your own. You can put in a 20-inch line with a 4-foot space, a 20-foot line with a 4-foot space, and a 20-foot line. Someplace out here, that's the sewer. Do the same thing with the water. And then tee off the sewer with a line and a space and a line, and eventually get it over to the house. With the water line, tee off of this, come over, but don't let the water line and the sewer line cross each other because it looks like you're mixing water. Gap it. And there's like a 4-foot gap here. Stub into the water meter and then take your way out. So you have to read the packet to see all the little things you got to do, including the north arrow. But I'm just going to show you how to do things like dimension. So let me do that here. So just in this blank area here, tell you what, I'm going to put in the keynote, one of the keynotes first. That's going to point to, well, here's something else. You need to put the air conditioner back in here. So let me make a keynote that's going to be pointing to the air conditioner. That's going to be keynote 10. So here's what would do is if I were to put some text in here, let's see, text, click from here to here. I want to put in, okay, hold on. Sorry, I keep doing this. I meant to go back to layer 0. Now, I probably should never have you all put all this stuff in layer 0 anyway. It's not important for this class. But click here, multi-line text, click from here to here. So this is going to say 10, and not 10 point, just 10, not 10.0, just 10. Highlight it. Once again, make sure it's 12-inch tall text. Okay, it's going to get big. Don't worry about it. Click off the side. Okay, so if this is good, I'm going to move this thing. So I move, and I'm clicking. If you right-click your mouse, that also means enter, okay, on your keyboard. You're going to draw a 3 foot by 3 foot square. You're going to put a box inside of that, make it look like an air conditioner, quack like an air conditioner. Just click there. Now let's put a hexagon around here. So it's going to be a polygon. So under here, under draw, notice this thing here. It looks like a rectangle, but if you click this thing, well, it says rectangle, but click here, and it says polygon. Now it looks like a pentagon, right? Click this thing. And with polygon, well, look, it shows you its 4 sides. It goes back to a square, a rectangle. Well, in here, a number of sides, let's put in 6 sides. So it's a hexagon. Okay. And then you can press enter. Then it's going to ask the size. Specify the center. Now, here's something else important. Make sure ortho is turned on, because that will give us a hexagon that will have a flat bottom to it and not tilted. So don't even try clicking on and centering around here. You're better off just to click off the side. And if you drag, so you have an option here, inscribed and circumscribed. So let's just do inscribed and see what happens. So this is a circle inside the hexagon versus this would be a circle outside the hexagon. And I forget what size it's going to be, but no big deal. We'll change it. I'll just press enter. So I'll keep inscribed. Okay. And then, yeah, good. Notice this. If I draw my mouse out here, yeah, this actually helps us. It helps me. If I put it about 9 inches, see, 9 is a bit small. So look at this, what this thing's saying. It's about 12 inches. Kind of works. Yeah, I like 12 inches. So what we'll do is just specify radius of the circle. This is the very, very bottom. So down here, well, I'll just type in 12. Okay, and there it is. Then I'll move this thing. And again, I'm using, turn off ortho. And I'm using my right button to press enter. Okay, so there's a hexagon. Now we're going to point to imaginary air conditioner here. So use an arc. So call up the arc command, 3-point arc. And all you do with O snap turned on, snap to here, and then probably turn off O snap. What you could do is just kind of click here, the second point, and then the third point. It gives it kind of an archy shape to it. Then at the tip of this, I want you to put in some arrows, and the legs of these, the ears of these arrows, make about the height of the text. So here we go. I'll call up the line. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to call up the OSNAP command, but I also know OSNAP is F3 on my keyboard. So with OSNAP turned on, I'm going to click here, and I'm going to come out here. And there's a tendency to OSNAP to come back in here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to press F3 to turn it off. I'll click, and then I'll turn it back on by pressing F3. It jumps there. Then I'll come out here, and maybe I'll press off F3 to turn off OSNAP. Then I'll click here and click here. And as I come back, I'll press an F3 again and turn on OSNAP. So I either press F3 on the keyboard or I start pushing this thing in and out. Then what you could do is if you copy this thing, and if I copy all these things here, you can then move it over to the skylights you're going to draw, to the fireplace chimney you're going to draw. Again, you have to read the packet for the all this information. And the skylights, which you're going to draw, is keynote number 12. You just double click the 10 and change that to 2. Okay. And then you probably have to recenter the 12 to make it look pretty. So let me do that. Okay, and then I'm going to put a pause on here because all these are the notes. It's in the packet. You can review it. The next thing we're going to do, I'm going to pause, and I'm going to set up something for the dimensioning. I'll explain that when we get to it. So here I go to pause. So for dimensioning, I'm jumping into packet D, as in dog, site plan, page 39. So some of the terms we're going to be seeing is good. These are extension lines, and you don't want them to touch the corner of the building. And these are the text size. This is the offset from the dimension line. The red is the dimension line. We're going to use architectural ticks. Now we want the extension line and the dimension line to crisscross and extend by the height of the text. So we're going to use some 12-inch text. It's going to be offset half of that, 6 inches from the origin. And the size of the tick marks could be 12 inches. And the architecture tick is 12 inches. And the extension of the blue and red, it's going to be, again, 12 inches. So that's the format. And depending on what scales you're plotting, these are the numbers you would be using. So I'll kind of remember these things. But in the site plan, quite frankly, yeah, we're going to be doing this at 16th in scale, but this still kind of works. This was set up for 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, but this also kind of works for 11 by 16. But when we dimension from the corner of the building to the property line, our overhang is 12 inches. So we're going to make an exception here that this offset from origin is going to be 18 inches. So the overhang, well, the dimension extension line won't touch the overhang. It'll gap it by 6 inches. So just kind of follow me. So in here, what we're going to do is you're going to type in dim style, and you're going to go into new, and we'll give it a name. And then what we'll be doing is we're going to go to probably this, yeah, good, this text tab right here, okay? And I'm going to jump back to this. So let me go to AutoCAD. And here's the one here. So to set up my dimensioning, I could do it right on there, but I'm just going to get some white space off to the side so I didn't get confused. Down the bottom, just type in dim style. Okay, press dim style. And we have the option now we're going to do a new one. And instead of copy the standard, now the standard style, all these text and arrows, throw all the wrong stuff. But let's call this thing site. So this is going to be our site. Because we'll do another one that will be, say, in floor plan, something like that. That's going to be for our structure. So we named it. Press continue. So again, this window shows you what the dimension looks like, and I don't like this dimension style here. It's in decimal. I don't like the arrows here. So it's a step-by-step process. And again, that goes back to page 50, whatever in the packet. We'll find that out real quick. So in here, I think this is all fine here. This is all fine here, but here, this text height, remember how our dimension line, our property, the directions of the property, it was all 12-inch text. So let's make that 12-inch. Okay. And then what we want to do is we want to have this dimension line aligned with the dimension line. So click this radio button. Okay, so it's starting to look like that. Now the text placement, we want to offset the float off the dimension line half of 12 inches. So this ought to read 6 inches. If I can do that, 6. Okay, and if I come up to here just to click, you can see, well, that didn't do anything because we got to change something over here. And I never remember this, so I'll just go back to the packet. So if you look in here, this is a 6-inch. This is 3-inch, and see, this is kind of an older version of AutoCAD, no big deal. But we want the text to be above, okay? Because we already did this align. So let's go back to AutoCAD, and I think we're here, and this thing is going to be not centered, but above. Okay, that looks fine. Now notice this, the tip of this dimension line, that arrow is too small. We can't see it. So let's come over here, but let's say before we go there, well, let's be methodical about it. Let me go back to the packet here. So I think I'm done with this. Let me scroll down. That was page 40, page 50. Good. I kind of knew I was going here. We're going to move from text to primary units. We want it to change to architectural. We'll check this precision, and we'll uncheck these 2 boxes here because we don't want to say 3 feet. We wanted to say 3 feet 0 inches. We don't want to say 0 feet 2 inches. We don't want to say 2 inches. We want to say 0 feet 2 inches. Anyway, we're gonna unclick those things. And I think the only other thing here, fraction format, is we'll have it not stacked. So it's architectural, that precision, not stacked, unclick those things. Let's jump over here. So in here, this primary unit, we want it architectural. And let's take it down to about a 1/2 inch. A 1/4 inch is fine. Because we're not doing a small detail. And then, let's see, unsuppress this and this. See this fraction here, 7 3/4? We don't want it horizontal. We want it not stacked. That looks proper, okay? And then if I go back to the packet, in here, again, not stacked, this is what we want. Diagonal and stacked, that's what we don't want. Then on the arrows, we want architectural ticks, and it's going to be 12 inches, because on the site plan, it's going to be 12 inches. And I think that will probably take care of it. Oh, but then from symbols, arrows, then we go to lines. And here is where we'll get our extension lines and our dimension lines crossing by the height of a text, which is going to be 12 inches. So let's go back to AutoCAD. And here, if I go symbols and arrows, I want this thing to be architectural tick. And the size, I want to be the height of our text, which is going to be 12 inches. You don't have to put the inches in. Okay. And then I think I'm done here. Then I'll go over the lines. So the extension lines, we want the extension lines to crisscross the dimension line by 12 inches. We want the dimension line to crisscross the extension line by 12 inches. I like this. And typically offset from origin would be 12 inches, but we have a 12-inch overhang, so I'm going to make this thing 18 inches and say OK. And then I'll say, see that site one? I'll say set current. I guess close. Then under annotation, if I were to come up to dimension something, what I'm going to do is come up to here, so linear dimension. That's going to be fine. With O-snap turned on, click to the corner of the building, not to the fascia, because the fascia comes later. We have to go to the corner of the building. This is where the formwork for the foundation, for the concrete is going to be. So this is the start of one point of origin. Go perfectly horizontal over here and click, and then drag down. And as you drag down, you can see the extension lines, they get longer. And now look at this, way up here, see that? I think I want to turn off O-snap, because it's going to snap back up to here. If you see that little parallel, green parallel thing. So let me press F3 to take off and click. And there we go. There is a 13-foot dimension. And there's an 18-inch gap there. So when we set up the formwork here, we'll know where this pin is. And we can measure back 20 feet to know the front of our house back over here. But we'll know the start of this house. And it could be this corner. It could be this corner. It could be that corner. But anyway, once you get to a point, then with the floor plans, they'll be able to lay everything else out. Okay.